training.
Yeah.
Training camp down in Tijuana against the Damares. I was on day 2 of 3. We was hanging by the pool. He was having a couple of beers, and we were talking. And he's like, "All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Training at this time." Like, sweet. Woke up so I go to bed. I woke up the next morning at about 5 a.m. to a phone call. It was Manny on the phone. He's like, "Well, I need you to listen to me." He's like, don't go outside. Don't get out of your bed. Just stay there and wait for me. I'll come for you. I hung up. And I was like, what the fuck was that? And Jess was like, what do you want? What's going on? And I'm like, well, I don't know, just lay here, do nothing. So we stayed in bed for a couple more hours, another hour or so. Didn't do anything, didn't say anything really. And then the phone rings again. This time now it was a Spanish guy. I'm assuming a Mexican guy translating in talking in Spanish to Manny, and Manny was translating in English to me. And again, it was much the same, saying, "Don't go outside, don't call anybody, don't go on social media, just stay in the room, don't move, and I'll come back for you." So yeah, and after hearing that, yeah, me and Jess are starting to freak out, and yeah, so we stayed in bed for a couple more hours, and didn't really do anything or say anything or call anybody. And then a bit of stuff started happening. We could hear some things happening outside, like the hotel was being some maintenance was getting done, and we heard the builders walking around. So we thought nothing too serious could be going on outside. So we got up and started having a look around, trying to work out what was going on. Eventually worked up the courage to go outside and have a look around, and peered through the window of Manny's hotel into his room to see what was going on, if he was still there or his clothes were there, and everything was still there. So we were starting to get a bit confused with where he was or what the call was actually about. And we tried a few things, like we went and spoke to the reception desk if they knew what was going on, and they didn't know. And you got to remember, like, we're in the middle of Tijuana, a dodgy fucking roadside motel. It was no like.
And at that point, it would be one of the most dangerous places in the world.
Yeah, and so me and just a couple of gringos from Australia in Tijuana, we were obviously nervous. And anyway, so we were back in the hotel room, and the next minute we hear a big banging on the door, and we froze and kind of shit ourselves and thought.
Be honest, did you push Jess to the door?
No, so I opened the door, and it was Adan and his mate. And he's like, what's going on? Where are you? He was meant to be at the gym. We got sparring. We had sparring at whatever 10 o'clock. I'm like, I told him what had happened, how Manny had disappeared, and him and his mate kind of walked off and were talking, and me and Jess were getting a bit sucked because Adan, just the reason we were in Tijuana sparring him is because he was fresh out of jail and couldn't come into America because he was on pinned for some sort of charge on him, but so it wasn't the most reputable bloke. Anyway, he comes back to us. He's like, "We're going to take you to the border." And I'm like, "What? You take us to the border?" He's like, "Yeah, it's not safe here. We'll take you to the border, and you can go back to America." And I look at Jess. I'm like, "Fuck! Like, are we going to trust these guys to take us to the border? Like, they're probably going to take us somewhere. They probably got Manny, and they're probably going to like try and kidnap us and hold us for ransom." So I said to Adan, I'm like, let me talk to Jess, and we went in the hotel and back into the room, and I'm like, what the fuck are we going to do? Like, do we stay here? Are we just going to sit here in this hotel room, or are we going to get in the car and try and take a punt and go to get to the border and get back to America? And we're like, fuck it, we'll take the punt. We're not going to stay sitting here in the motel room. So I remember I grabbed a bottle of Coke, a glass bottle of Coke, and I smashed it, and I got a big shard of glass, and I put it in my pocket so that if anything tried to happen, I had that shard to shank him. And
We all know you would have started crying and just went to the
No,
fetal position.
I was ready to survive. So we got our shit, got in the car. Thank God they took us to the border, and me and Jess had to literally like wheel our bags across the border like a couple of immigrants trying to escape back into America. We got to America, and literally as soon as we crossed the border, I get a phone call, and it was Manny.
Yeah.
And Manny tells me the story that he went through, which is a whole other thing. So what ended up happening, Manny got a phone call also at like 4 o'clock in the morning from the Setters, which are like a notorious Mexican gang.
Cartel gang.
Yeah, cartel. And they said, who are you? What are you doing? What are you doing in our city? And we got the hotel surrounded. We're gonna kidnap you, kill you, whatever. You need to do what we say, or we're gonna get you. So they basically sent Manny, and it's very easy to say, like, from a third perspective, like, oh, why don't you just like hang the phone up, or it doesn't really sound that scary. But when you're in the actual situation of being in like dodgy Tijuana, shitty little motel, like so many like shady people getting around, you kind of like
just do what you're told.
Yeah, and so Manny ended up having to like follow all these directions. He had to go to like a 7-Eleven, which were called Oxos, and buy a new phone. Had to assemble that phone, dismantle his old phone. They called him on the new phone. They directed him to this hotel on the other side of Tijuana. Checked into this room. When he got to the room, they called him on that room number, and then just started trying to extort him. Basically, they were asking him like to prove who he was. And he's like, I'm just an American guy. I live in America with my wife. And they're like, we don't believe you. Put us onto your wife. The moment they put him onto his wife, then they rang his wife and started extorting his wife, saying they had Manny hostage and they were going to kill Manny if transfer money. Anyway, it was a fucking struggle. But we ended up.
You got out alive.
We got out alive. And Manny, we caught a train to San Diego, and Manny came and picked us up in San Diego, and we drove back to LA, and that was it. It was all over.
So look, you're in America. You've had a couple of fights. Lost to Francisco Vargas. A fight that myself and Lincoln tried to organise for you before you left to America. It was a fight we thought you could win. We thought you'd be the favourite, to be honest. You had a style at that point that would win him. You've lost to Francisco. You had a different trainer then as well. His name was
Nico Robles.
Nico, yeah. So anyway, you've lost the fight. You've decided to give it up in America and come back to Australia with Golden Boy, obviously. So the whole time you were there, you were not the whole time, but every fight was under Golden Boy Promotions with Oscar De La Hoya's company. At that point, we're doing awesome and one of the biggest companies in the world. Promotions back then. You've come back to Australia. How did you find that transition from being that lifestyle transition more than anything, being in West Hollywood or hanging around America and in LA, coming back to Melbourne, possibly feeling like you'd failed. Let's be honest here. You went there to win a world title and you didn't achieve that. Another world title. You got very close. But how did it feel coming back to Australia and facing the music?
Like I said before we get back to that, so had the fight with Vargas. So the first fight I had in America was my first loss. That loss could happen for a multiple amount of reasons. One of the reasons I think contributed to it was the issue, the massive struggles that I had to make weight. When I moved to America, it was 2013. Didn't get my first fight with Jerry Belmonte's in Vegas on the Canelo undercard, Canelo Angulo undercard, until 2014. It'd been like, I think it was like my biggest gap in between fights for a long time. and just being in a different environment, eating different food, drinking different water, different style of training. Just didn't make the weight in a healthy way that I probably should have, and because of that, I felt very weak and just no good at super featherweight anymore. So that's after that first loss, I decided to move to lightweight, where it was a lot more comfortable and achievable to make that weight and still feel good. Had my first fight at that weight in Mexico, and put on a really, really good performance. Got a good win down there in Cancun. Yeah, and then backed that up straight away with another good win on
San Diego, was it?
A Fox Sports show in San Diego.
That's right.
I knocked out a guy named Miguel Zamudio in the 8th round. Was my first knockout win for a while, so that felt good. No, I felt like I was back. I felt like I was, good. Like I was, where I needed to be at lightweight. But then I got the offer to fight Francisco Vargas for the WBO international title in Texas, but back at super featherweight. And I was I was pretty happy and comfortable at lightweight, but the opportunity to go to and fight Vargas, and I did genuinely believe that the form I had at that point was I could have been good enough to beat Vargas.
We believe that as well, yeah.
He had this kind of style that would have suited me. Just walk up fighter and there to be hit. But
how much of a difference do you think it would have made having your original team there? Like, not talking us up, but how much of a, in your head now, looking back at it, how much of a difference would it have made mentally? And before you answer that, have a good think about it. What I've just asked. I'm gonna have a mystery caller.
Don't worry about it, man. I've thought about this plenty of times.
Wait, we've got a mystery caller. We've got a hello.
Hi, mate. How are you?
There we go. Lincoln Hudson.
Well,
trainer, VHS.
Can you see me? Hey?
How the fuck are we going to miss you? Look at the size of you.
Hey, don't worry about the size of me. What about the size of Will's ego?
No, that's fucking diminished. Don't worry about that. That's
I don't know about that. I don't know. He rang me up the other day. He said to me, Lee, tell me, who was the greatest fight you ever had? I said, probably Dilshot. That shattered him.
No, that wasn't the question, you peanut. The question was, who did you have the most success with? And you'd be fucking mad if you don't acknowledge.
Yeah, but Willie, there's some things you should know, and I suppose we might as well pull it out on this podcast. So, how many referees did you have to sleep with? There were so many judges.
It was only once, and he was really happy to do it. It was consensual. Sorry if I lost them.
There was no fights that left into the judges' fucking hands.
Nah, you seem to forget.
What I asked him was, we're talking about Francisco Vargas and that last fight he had in the States, and he lost. And I explained to him about a year or two before, me and you had looked at Francisco Vargas.
We did.
I've still got the videos here, and we thought that we'll compete him. And the question
this is my opinion on that whole.
Hold on. The question I asked was, I asked Will, how much of a difference do you believe it would have made having your original team with you for that fight?
And you didn't give me a chance to answer.
I had the mystery caller.
Yeah, well, let me give you my answer. Then you can ask Lincoln.
There's a bit of a sound issue. Is that yours? Or?
Yeah, no, I can hear you clear as day, gentlemen.
That's better.
Are you
clear?
Okay.
So I believe that if who are we talking about? Francisco Vargas was brought to me was brought to me in my backyard at the end of 2013 after I'd just beaten Malcolm Classen. When we had all that good momentum behind us, I would have beaten him.
Willie, let me clarify something for you. First of all, I love you, right? No, but I need to clarify a few things for you. The problem you have is I would never have let you dehydrate like you did when you fought Vargas. I would never make you cut the weight like you did with Vargas. So you left all your goodness was in the tank. Second of all, when in Australia, Fidel and I did talk about Vargas, and believe it or not, it was probably about 3-4 years before you fought him. And reality is this: if I was in America, you would not have cut the weight you did, and you wouldn't have dehydrated the way you did, and therefore you wouldn't have gave everything you did, and you were shot by round 4. Reality is you've always finished strong but not finished weaker. That fight, by round 4, you were gone. And that was a case of weight cut and preparation. And I don't say that rudely to you, but reality is Will Tomlinson 3 years ago would have got rid of Vargas.
Yeah, so as I said, I believe it was
a lot of things.
Probably lost to Vargas.
Where were you sitting before?
What's that?
Where were you sitting before?
What do you mean?
You were sitting somewhere a bit different before. It was a bit better reception.
No, it's not me. It's
could be me. What's that noise? Thinking. Shut up, Link.
It only happened when Link.
No, but reality is, well, is look. I'll tell you what. Look, and it has nothing to do with we were great. We had a great team at BHS. It's as simple as that. And listen. Fidel and I, believe it or not, argued more times than we made love. But at the end of the day, we got the right result at the right time. Now, we prepared you for the best you could possibly be at that time. The problem with you is when you went to America, you knew better. And obviously, you relied on a team that didn't know you. So I knew when you cried, I knew how you cried, and I knew what made you cry. And one of the times, you don't want me to go on television and tell you the times you sit on the gun and cry. But reality is, we had a team that trusted the team, and the team was unbreakable. The team was unbreakable, and the bottom line was, you beat blokes that Fidel and I will be honest with you, we got told by the experts, you have no chance of winning, but you destroyed those. And then we had blokes tell us, we'll get rid of this bloke in 1 round. You struggled with those blokes that went 12 rounds with. Yeah, had the gun, 9-0.
So, Link, I got some questions. So listen to the questions for Will. I've got some viewer questions. First question is from Hussein Uzbara, right? One of the boys from the gym back in the day. He asks, would you consider BHS as one of the best gyms that you've trained in?
It was the best.
Say yes.
It was the best.
Oh, someone's got a horrible line.
Yeah, you can say what you like. Willie just wants to dodge the answer. It was the best gym. Because what happened was it wasn't that scientific, but it was the best. We produced, at the time, let's go through it. We had Dilshot, we had Crowe, we had Will Tomlinson, we had Kerry's Karaoke, we had Dommy Vay in there, we had John Brunker in there, we had Lenny Zappa in there, we had Lawrence Tawasa in there, Menza in there, Pradeep Singh in there, Josh Clemshaw in there. We probably had 50% of Australia's top 3 fighters in the country. So I'd say it's fair to say BHS was probably the best gym in Australia from 2007 to 2012.
What do you reckon, Will?
Yeah, he's got no option but to say yes, has he?
As I said before, when in 2007 or 8, whenever it was when I turned pro, Sydney was where it was at, and in terms of boxing and BHS, that was like almost like a bit of a hub for all the elite gyms in Western Sydney. Like we used to have awesome sparring there, and even sparred Shane Mosley there.
Yeah,
well, you know what? That's something to look back at. I think it made a big difference. Was your sparring? You had Victor Chinning on tap, Joel Bronca, Billy Dibb, Lenny Zappa. Oh fuck! You and Lenny sparring were better than each other.
That was main event stuff.
Yeah, fuck. How much of a difference do you think that made to you coming up in the world?
Like the work. So where you improve as a fighter is all the quality work you get in the gym and in training, all the rounds that you start with. The quality is sparring partners. That's what lifts you as a fighter. So yeah, no, like it was definitely at that point in Australia, it was the best gym to be at.
It was, yeah, I think so too, and it's still to this day. I don't think there's many gyms that even get close to it at the moment.
No.
Lincoln, as Lincoln said, there's so many in the top 10 in the world. And if they were top 10 in the world, they're top 3 in the country. And we
The problem
had
a lot of
10 to
people won't
15
acknowledge, Fitz, is this, including young Will, is, and I don't say it to be disrespectful to him. The problem is, we in Australia, we had all those fighters from the top 10 in the world, but we only had 160 registered pros. But you went to America, you had 20,000 registered professionals, and yet out of 160 registered professionals, we had at least 10 in the top 10 in the world. So for a small country and a small gym, we seem to be doing
I went there because I wanted to be the champion, Lincoln.
All right, Link, I'm going to have to let you go. Any last words, mate?
Yeah, look, you know, it's good to see the old BHS days. And I done a video the other day, and I want Will to have a look at it. And that was Will 3 years after he retired. He looked actually better than what he did with Vargas. The problem you have with Vargas and Will, Ironside's a beautiful thing. And I'd say to a lot of fighters, we don't need to leave the country. You just got to get a good team here. See, the reality is Will went over there for 2 years and belled the crap out of himself, and he was burnt out by the time he got to Vargas.
Oh, but Link, did you see my abs back there, mate?
Hey.
Have you seen your fucking head right now?
Well, hey, you can hardly spell your name. What are you talking about?
Hanks in Philadelphia.
Hey, Fitz, we had to spell his name for him. What are you talking about?
Anyway, all right, Link.
Enjoy.
Thanks for joining in. I'll
Take
speak to
care.
you soon, mate.
Bye.
Will.
Yo.
Oh, that's better. Fuck, it must have been Lincoln.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, we've missed a lot here and we could have got a lot more controversial, but I want to finish off with one last thing. I call it the 1 minute wonder. All right? This was named after you, Will, just so you know. All right? And I'm going to ask you questions and you're going to answer them real quickly.
Yeah.
Okay? Honestly and quickly. The best fighter you fought against.
Sorry, say it again.
The best fighter you fought against.
Vargas.
Okay. Best fighter you sparred with.
Yuriorkis Gamboa.
Yeah, he's a machine. Toughest fighter you've ever fought against. Toughest.
Adonis Aguayo.
Adonis Aguayo. Dirtiest fighter you've fought against.
Matt Powell.
Matt Powell. That was a great fight, actually. I remember that. The fighter you are happy you never fought. I know who this is. Come on. I know who it is.
Actually, I'm trying to think. There's definitely fighters out there.
You're happy you didn't fight Adrian Broner. Come on.
Nah. Like, that would have been... No, I would have fought him.
Who made you shut just a little bit back in the day?
Let's come back to that one.
All right. Best pound for pound fighter in the world.
Right now? Canelo. All
right. Best prospect. Who to watch?
Teofimo Lopez.
Yes. I don't know if you call him a prospect. He's a world champion.
Yeah, true. Brian Garcia.
Yeah, Ryan's good to watch. Most overrated fighter.
Come
on, mate. Gotta be quick.
Fuck, I don't know.
Really?
Maurice Hooker. I don't know. I don't know why I said that.
Most overrated fighter in Australia.
In Australia.
It doesn't matter. It's Australia as well.
I'm a promoter now. It'll be controversial.
Fuck him. If they're not in your promotional company, then fuck him.
Overrated in Australia.
Have a crack. Just say it. Don't fucking ring me later and tell me, I should have said this.
Jason Waitley.
Oh, I'm going to put that straight out.
I just signed him.
He's your father. Just so, everyone, look, I'll go back to this. I'm wearing his shirt. That's Wildfighter. Will is now a major promoter in Melbourne. He's made the transition into promotions about 12 months ago.
Yeah, well, I was meant to have. Yeah, it was 12 months ago last week.
And he's mate, he's creating waves. He's actually, you know, for once he's actually listened to me a little bit. And he's worrying more about the shows and not about the fights, much like UFC. And he signed his first fighter finally. It was Jason Whaley just a couple of weeks ago. So Jason, we know it's just a joke, mate. So don't get upset about it. We're just joking. We're just bullshit. All right, going back to it. Who wins, Tyson Fury or AJ?
Fury. He's my favorite fighter at the moment.
Great fighter. I reckon the next Muhammad Ali, the way he's going. Seriously.
Yeah.
Who wins in their prime, Manny or Floyd? In their primes.
Floyd.
Yeah, I think Manny. All right. Well, you've just done your 1 minute wonder. There's your dash, buddy. Will, thanks for coming on to our second episode of the lockdown. Be proud of yourself. This is going to be fucking huge. It's blowing up. Awesome that we can understand what you're saying, because me and you together was fucking mishmash. Any last words, mate?
No, thanks for having me. It was good fun. Lincoln kind of ruined it for a bit, but we got through it.
All right, mate. You take care. Thanks for coming. Speak to you soon, buddy.
Right,
good luck.
Yeah.
See you, bye.
Yeah.
Bye.